This week on the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast, we bring you the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame through the eyes of hip-hop, its fans, Jamie and Bill, and, of course, Gene Simmons. What else? Let's listen.
It's not just any day. It's Mr. Throwback Thursday.
All you kids want to get on and shit.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
I'll be damned. At the count of three, I want y'all to tell me the name of my DJ.
1, 2, 3. And now, here's your hosts, Bill Winters and Mr. Throwback Thursday himself, Jamie Robinson.
And a pleasant welcome to everybody to Mr. Throwback Thursday, episode 533, coming at you live and direct with your two favorite idiots, Bill up in New York, Jamie down in Virginia. How are you doing, my friend?
I am well. As everyone is listening to this, I am sailing the seven seas.
Yes, we are once again going back to the future. Yes. We are recording this show about 5 weeks in advance.
Yes, it's
so
a
as
future
the show
cast.
comes out, Jamie did not rejoin the Navy.
No.
Although he did like the gravy and rice.
I did. And I still do.
But he is off enjoying some well-deserved rest. So we figured we would put this one in the can and have it ready for release for episode 533.
Because as we said from the beginning, we will be here every Thursday. You should too. And, you know, whether we're actually physically here on a Thursday, we always have something for you on a Thursday.
I want to welcome, we have three viewers right now. I do see Rob and I see Ken.
Yep.
So welcome to the future, gentlemen. And Rob actually got to hear me sing Iron Maiden before. So, and he said it was epic. Into can to KFC grease.
Look, I almost pulled that one up again accidentally for Bill Reed's lyrics. I was like, oh, this is a good one. And I was scrolling down. I went, oh no, we did that one.
We've done this.
Because as soon as that Kentucky Fried Chicken grease showed up.
Flavor in your ass grease. So for episode 533, it is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame centered show.
Yes. Isn't it around this time of year?
It usually is. Yes. I know they've announced the, what's the proper word for it? The candidates for induction?
Yes. Nominees, if you will.
The nominees, I guess, if you will. Yes. They haven't announced who is in yet.
No.
But at least as we record, they haven't. But yeah, very Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Plus, it's a chance for us to say, fuck Gene Simmons.
Yes, because that is something that we must do.
Mm-hmm. At least once a year.
Well, yeah. Right, like we always do about this time.
So based off of that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing, we have some hip-hop headlines talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We have some woo news. One piece of woo news that talks about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We have two featured records this week. We are not doing a one and done and a record of the week. We are doing feature record number 1 and feature record number 2, both featuring Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. I will read some lyrics, which might not have anything to do with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know.
Who
That's
knows?
completely up to the
Probably
guy whose name appears on the marquee.
Yes. Oh, but it says inductees will be announced in late April. So we are in mid-April.
No, we're in. Well, yes, we will be in mid-April.
Yes.
Remember, we're recording in the future.
Yes.
We're recording in the past and playing in the present, which for now makes it the future.
Indeed.
That's some Inception level bullshit.
So, as opposed to philosophical bullshit, because that's John Volpe.
I was going to say and he's performing locally again.
Well, that's the only place he really performs is locally.
Which is good because he'd been sick.
Yeah.
So, yes, we can tell you have the night off, Rob, and we are so happy that
we are happy that you're here.
That you've joined us in the multiverse to come into the future and spend some time with us. It's always good to see you, my friend.
To the future.
Would you like to get this nonsense started?
Sure, why not?
We are going it's going to take us into the future.
Cleveland, Ohio is what it's going to do.
It's going and other places, but yes, that is the physical location. Yes. Have you ever been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No, honestly, it is on our list of things to do this year. At the beginning of the year, we like to put a list together of things we would like to do. Mm-hmm. And it could be something as simple as, hey, there's a new coffee shop down the road. We should check that out. Just and visit the Rock Hall is on the list this year, as well as around the corner from there, the Christmas Story House.
Yes.
So yes, it is being looked at as a potential journey this year.
I have been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was lucky enough to go there a couple of times when I was back in my banking days. We had our corporate offices in Cleveland, Ohio, which some people refer to as the Mistake by the Lake.
By the Lake, yep.
And back then, it was right down the road from Jacobs Field, which is the Jake by the Lake.
Yes.
But now it's, what is it, Progressive Field now or whatever they're calling it? I can't keep track.
Who bought rights?
Or Guardians Field now.
Yeah.
But it's also right next to the new Cleveland Browns Stadium, which isn't new anymore, but it was new at the time.
Yes.
Rock Hall of Fame is really cool. It looks like it was designed by I.M. Pei, I believe. It's the pyramid-shaped building. And it is it's an event.
I have read that if you look at it from the sky, it is made to look like a record player.
It is.
I will never have that view, but I've read that.
No, I flew over it when I was flying out, so I did get to look. So if you would be so kind, take us to Cleveland, Ohio, and areas close to, and bring us a little hip hop headlines. Would you please hit me with a little of that Triple H by the Lake?
This is Hip Hop Headlines, brought to you by Mr. Throwback Thursday.
Well, get on it. It's your time.
It is. And I believe our first article of Hip Hop Headlines is kind of like a disclaimer.
Since
we've been very big on that lately.
Yes.
You have titled it Diversity, and this comes from the Rock Hall's website itself, rockhall.com.
Yes.
So
because
anything you need.
Inclusion is a very big issue with people surrounding the Rock Hall.
Yes. So diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion is basically what they talk about in this little disclaimer. And again, this comes right from the Rock Hall's website. Rock and roll is a diverse and inclusive art form that mirrors and shapes the times. Yes, it does. Artists have been a voice of change and advocates for social justice for generations, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame shares this through our international curation of exhibits, programs,
X to the Z,
and outreach. No, different exhibit. And Mr. Cranky Pants in the house.
Yes, complaining about Twitch not alerting him.
At the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we are dedicated to making a difference. We intentionally foster a diverse and equitable museum that encourages and embraces creativity and innovation. As a community leader, we value, empower, and respect all people. We provide all team members equal access to information, development, and opportunity. We acknowledge historical inequities and purposefully create an environment where each person feels accepted, appreciated, and safe to utilize their unique experiences and perspectives. So, sounds like you're applying for a job.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that they say in here that people say, I don't know why they're in there because blah, blah, blah. Well, they tell you why.
Yes.
It's right in their mission statement or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It says we want people from all walks of life. We're not just going to take, the people who were around in the 1950s that started rock and roll, as we call it, So all these people who are there complaining that other people shouldn't be there, you need to talk to the people who created this thing.
And keep in mind, the Rock Hall is probably a privately owned group.
Yeah, well, yes.
Most of these things all are. And it's at you know, it's funny. There's a link on the site for careers. I never would have thought about working at some place like that. Maybe when I retire, it'd be a cool retirement gig. Michael, the boy's stepdad, my son's stepdad, or my son's dad. I'm the stepdad. I mean, you know.
We all have the family tree laid out.
Yeah. Well, he had originally said he was going to work at Cooperstown when he retired.
Instead, he flew south.
Yes. Then call it the Music Hall of Fame. I don't think it has the same panache.
It doesn't. It doesn't come off the same. Okay, I will say there is a national hip hop museum out there. It's been around for a few years, and I think it's out of Washington. I'm not positive. I believe it's out of Washington, D.C. But when you have the National Hip Hop Museum, which is a very, very small, I don't even know if it's an actual museum. I don't know the logistics.
I don't think it's a brick and mortar or anything.
Right. Then you have the Hip Hop Museum, which before was universal to encompass everywhere. That is a name that sticks out. You know, it's not a hip hop museum. So you can't have the Music Hall of Fame, even though it encompasses so many different types of music. At this stage of the game, you can't change your name. I mean, it just doesn't work. Formerly known as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. No.
Right, because then people would be like, well, what'd you change it for?
Right.
Because there's not a lot of rock and roll artists.
There's not a lot of rock and roll artists left.
No, that aren't already in.
Right.
So this statement of inclusivity and diversity and equity,
I felt needed to be added right off the jump.
Yes. Just kind of let you know what we're talking about. Now, that being said, our next article is entitled Fuck the Hall.
Yes, it is.
And this comes to us from ultimateclassicrock.com. UCR.
Ultimate Classic Rock. It's not the music.com. It's ultimateclassicrock.com.
Which is just another name, you know?
Yeah.
Ultimateclassicrock.com brings you 25 rock and roll stars who have criticized the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Basically, they said, fuck the Hall of Fame.
Yes. And I know everybody's going to say, well, this isn't hip hop. No, but we're going to get there. Don't worry.
Yes. So ever since this started inducting artists back in 1986.
Yes.
They have faced complaints from fans ad nauseum
since
about
1986
the selection process. Said probably since 1985 when the first class was being honored or
because
chosen.
They went and changed it. I don't remember how long ago where they added the fans vote, or the fans selection. And I think that made things better because people had a voice in these 80-year-old white dudes' decision making.
And the people are eventually going to be the ones coming in there and spending the money to tour the place.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, you might as well give them something that they want.
Yeah. Got to give the people.
Among other things, the executives of this place have been referred to as faceless tuxedo-wearing morons by Joe Elliott of Def Leppard.
Def Leppard, yep. And then didn't they go in?
Yeah, eventually I think they did. And spineless weasels by Paul Stanley. The bandmate of
the front
Gene
man,
Simmons,
if you will.
Yes, at the time, yes. Kiss, fantastic performance group, horrible musicians.
Yeah, they're not great.
So anyway, there's other quotes in here. Kiss was inducted back in 2014. Only their 4 original members were named.
I think that's kind of screwed up too.
Yeah. Which I think, is rough because Eric Carr and Bruce Kulick, who were both in the band for more than a decade.
Yeah, they were around for a while.
And performed on countless albums.
Yeah, because Eric Carr took over for Peter Criss when Peter left the band.
And then Metallica was honored in 2009. Their list included bassist Robert Trujillo, who had at that point played on one album.
Yeah. So the rules are flexible.
So Joe Walsh of the Eagles said in a 2018 interview,
a classic character as it is.
He is. Yes. He says, but this makes sense. He goes, there's a lot of us artists. There's a lot that us artists would change about the induction ceremony and who they pick. There's a lot of people. I don't know why they're in there. And there's a lot of people. I don't know why they're not.
And that's a general, that is a statement. I think you ask anyone
at any Hall of Fame.
Right. And it's going to be the feeling of anyone, whether they are in there or they are just a fan on the outside looking in.
Baseball Hall of Fame. Does Pete Rose belong?
Yes, 100%.
I tend to agree with that statement.
Yeah. What he did as a manager, he bet on his team to win.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't take away the fact that the man had over 4,000 hits as a player.
What he did as a manager, he doesn't go in as a manager.
He goes in as a player.
He goes in as a player, and he did nothing. Well, he did nothing notably illegal as a player
that has ever been discovered.
That's why. Yep.
I mean, Ty Cobb is in, and he was a piece of shit human being,
100%.
but he was a good ball player.
Yep.
25, according to this article, rock stars who have criticized the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The first one they mention is Sex Pistols.
Okay, so the Sex Pistols are a very, very so word I'm looking for, unique case.
Yeah,
they had an album, one album.
Never mind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols.
But it is influentially massive.
Yeah,
the impact that one release had, astronomical. I have no issue with them being in.
And they were inducted in 2006.
Yes.
But they made their anti-Hall of Fame feelings clear in an open letter.
Yeah, Johnny Rotten did.
Which, when they were inducted, they never attended. Next to the Sex Pistols,
I appreciate that, too. We said, fuck you and everything you stand for. You put us in. I'm not showing up and saying, well, now that I'm in, cool, thanks. You know,
yeah, I'm not gonna feed your narrative. Yeah. Next to the Sex Pistols, rock and roll in that Hall of Fame is a piss stain. We're not coming. And then they went on to lambaste
Johnny Lydon, huh?
Lambaste the fees they were allegedly asked to pay. Fame at $25,000 if we paid for a table, or $15,000 to squeak up in the gallery, goes to a nonprofit organization selling us a load of old famous. So that sounds like a Johnny Lydon thing to say, Tim.
So you can come in, but you got to pay us $25,000 to be at the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
That's like getting your star on the Walk of Fame. It's like a $50,000 thing you got to pay for that, for your ceremony.
So our next one that they list, and Rob is going to be very happy about this. Iron Maiden's Bruce Dickinson.
Yes.
Few rock stars have been as outspoken about their hatred of the Rock Hall as Iron Maiden singer Bruce Dickinson. I actually think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is an utter and complete load of bollocks, to be honest with you. It's run by a bunch of sanctimonious, bloody Americans who wouldn't know rock and roll if it hit them in the face. They need to stop taking Prozac and start drinking fucking beer.
There you go.
A month later, after thinking about it, he doubled down. I'm really happy we're not there, and I would never want to be there. If we're ever inducted, I will refuse. They won't bloody be having my corpse in there. Rock and roll music does not belong in a mausoleum in Cleveland. It's a living, breathing thing, and if you put it in a museum, then it's dead. It's worse than horrible. It's vulgar.
I like his approach. I mean, it's impassioned. He's got a point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they put Iron Maiden in, it'll be after Bruce is dead and he doesn't have a say in whether he's in there or not.
Right. Next one on the list, Joan Jett.
Yeah. Didn't she also get in?
Who is in 2015. Yes. Now, her only problem is she took exception to the institution's lack of female representation. her quote, "There should be more women in the Hall of Fame and more women in rock." And she said this to Billboard. She goes, "They're out there. They just don't get the notice the pop girls do. Go to any city and there's an all-girl rock band. It's just a matter of society wanting to hear that kind of music. Although more women have been inducted in recent years, as of 2023, men still make up more than 90% of the roster of the Hall of Fame."
I believe
now,
with the Blackhearts, Cranky.
The all-girl thing is true. I have a friend of mine who sings in an all-girl Tom Petty tribute band called the Tom Pretties.
Nice.
And they're actually pretty damn good. So they're out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's got a big thing too, because she was in an all-girl band. She was in the Runaways.
Yep. Cherry Bomb.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question for you, considering we're talking about rock and roll and female singers.
Sure.
Paramore eventually get in?
I believe that they should.
I think they should. I think
longevity, impact on the industry. I believe they should totally get in. You know, they got ways to wait, but
yeah. Who goes in first? Haley Williams with Paramore or Shirley Manson with Garbage?
Honestly, I believe Haley's going in first.
I think so too. And next article, next person on the list, Black Sabbath.
Yes.
In 1999, Ozzy Osbourne wrote an open letter asking the Rock Hall to leave Black Sabbath off their ballots.
So you notice we have Sex Pistols from England. You have Iron Maiden from England. You know, fucking Ozzy from England. These are the people who are having the big issues of leave me the fuck out of it.
Just take our name off the list. Save the ink. Forget about us. The nomination is meaningless because it's not voted on by the fans. This before the fans voted.
Before the fans had a vote, yeah.
Is voted on by the supposed elite for the industry and the media who've never bought an album or concert ticket in their lives, so their vote is irrelevant to me. Let's face it, Black Sabbath has never been media darlings. We're a people's band, and that suits us just fine.
Yeah. Do you remember any Black Sabbath songs being radio play? I mean, when they became a classic.
Yeah,
band.
Only once. Yeah. I mean, you'll hear Iron Man on PDH up here now. Osborne changed his tune when the band was inducted in 2006, appearing alongside his bandmates at the ceremony.
Tell him, Nipsey. Grumpy English idiots. Damn straight.
Here's another British one, I'm sure. Chrissie Hynde of the Pretenders. 18 years after her 2005 induction, Pretenders leader Chrissie Hynde expressed regret over accepting the honor, explaining that she did so to avoid upsetting her parents. So a little buyer's remorse.
Yes.
Look, I have a problem with this. Oh, I took the honors. I'm in there, but now I don't want to be.
I didn't have a choice. You know, they told me I was going in, so, you know, I didn't want to piss off everyone, but I didn't want to be there.
If anyone wants my position in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they are welcome to it. I don't even want to be associated with it, she said.
I believe she is British, though.
It's just more establishment backslapping. I got in a band, so I didn't have to be part of all that. Other than Neil Young's participation in the induction process, the whole thing was and is total bollocks. We hear a lot of bollocks on this.
We have.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Bollocks.
Yes.
It's absolutely nothing to do with rock and roll, and anyone who thinks it is a fool.
I thought it was only rock and roll, but I like it.
The next one on the list, all my friends know the low rider. War. In 2011, War founder Howard Scott expressed frustration that his band was once again passed over for induction into the Hall of Fame, and especially upset that a band who sampled Lowrider got in before they did. We were cranking out gold records when they were still in diapers. How could Beastie Boys get in before us when they sampled our music on their first album?
That is a question I never actually thought of. You know, it's not like the Beasties sampled every war song, or every song on their album was a sample of a war song. But
no, but every song on, well, that was on what was that? Paul Revere. They sampled that.
Slow
Ride, Slow and Low. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there are plenty of bands that are plenty of hip hop guys that are Hall of Famers who have sampled many things.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not like they took War's catalog and made their album from all of War's stuff.
Yeah. It's not like they took
Cisco Kid.
Who was a friend of mine.
I heard that.
Next, Kirk Hammett from Metallica.
Metallica. Yeah.
Yeah, Metallica. Although Metallica was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2009, guitarist Kirk Hammett expressed frustration over the continued exclusion of Motorhead and Thin Lizzy in 2020.
Ooh, Thin Lizzy.
I really think that when things like that happen, it might be a generational thing where maybe some of the older people just don't get it. They just don't fucking get it, he explained.
And if you go back and look, one of our episodes, it's the one where you came down here because we were at Freshtopia when the picture was taken. It's written in the Thin Lizzy font. I believe it's Boys Are Back in Town or something.
Yes, that was the name of the episode, I think. And that's the only Thin Lizzy song I know.
Didn't they do "It's Gonna Be a Jailbreak Somewhere in This Town"?
Maybe, but who hears that? Who knows that? So
me.
And then Hammett also says he also worried that the group's relative lack of commercial success may factor too heavily into the Rock Hall's voting process. And again, talking about Thin Lizzy and Motorhead, maybe they just didn't sell enough fucking albums. Sometimes it feels like you have to sell a certain amount of albums before they would even consider you, which is, I think, a big piece of shit too.
I totally agree with that. You can have the influence, you can have the staying power and the fan following, which was important later on, and not necessarily have Beyonce record numbers. I will counter his ace with who we mentioned before. We go on the Motorhead.
Well, I'm going to counter his argument with Sex Pistols. One record.
Yeah.
And they got in.
Yeah.
And that one record, it's sold decently, yes, but it's not diamond or anything.
But yeah, they are in on their influence.
Here's one that really surprises me, and it's not necessarily for him, but for one of his friends. Elton John's got a problem with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh?
Because they have not inducted his friend. After Donna Summer died in 2012, Elton said, "I'm so sad. This woman was the queen of disco and so much more. That she has never been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a total disgrace, especially when I see the second-rate talent that has been inducted."
Yes.
And it's fighting words.
I've seen a lot of articles, mostly researching for this, of people who have their, we're going to go through every class that's been inducted and tell you the groups that should not have been there based on the time period they were going in. Not that they should never have been there.
Right.
But out of this class, this group and this group shouldn't be here. You know, and occasionally they would throw in, I would have put in this group or this group instead, but not always. So there's a lot of those. There's a lot of, 25 years after your first album? Is the minimum?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. I'm not 100% sure.
You look that up.
So I'm going to find out. Criteria
I believe it's 25 years
induction
after your first album that you can be considered. So a lot of these bands that go in, let's say ahead of Donna Summer, let's not even say that she was disco. Not the point. A lot of these bands that went in ahead of her are because they were qualified at the time and she was not. I'm not saying that's what's keeping her out, and I have no idea the politics there, but just as an example, she didn't get in and these turds did. Well, because they were eligible at the time, and maybe there weren't a whole lot of people that were eligible for that class. So they got in on a low class, you know?
Okay, so here's what I found. A nominating committee composed of rock and roll historians.
Yes, old white guys, gotcha.
Selects names for the performers category consisting of singers, vocal groups, bands, and instrumentalists of all kinds, which are then voted on by roughly 500 experts across the world. Those selected to vote include academics, journalists, producers, and others with music industry experience. Artists become eligible for induction 25 years after the release of their first record. So you were right on that. Criteria include the influence and significance of the artist's contributions to the development and perpetuation of rock and roll. Ergo, Sex Pistols with one album get in because of their influence and significance to the development and perpetuation of rock and roll.
Which is why, jumping many years, Biggie Smalls, the notorious B.I.G., has 2 albums. But at the time, he brought hip hop back to New York. So his influence was gigantic.
And here's something that I didn't know. In 2012, 6 additional groups were inducted as performers by a special committee due to the controversial exclusions when their lead singers were inducted. So the groups were the Miracles,
Smokey,
the Famous Flames. James Brown was the lead singer of the Famous Flames. The Comets,
Bill Haley, the Blue Caps. Who are the Blue Caps?
Gene Vincent.
I don't
and
know
the
Gene
Blue
Vincent.
Caps, an American rock and roll band of the 1950s.
Well, that's why I don't
early
know.
rockabilly icon Gene Vincent.
He had a rockabilly past of which nobody knew.
The Midnighters.
Nope.
Hank Ballard.
Don't know
was
Hank
the
Ballard
lead
either.
singer. And the Crickets.
Well, Bobby Jimmy?
No, that's the Critters. Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly, yes.
Bobby Jimmy.
It's not often you get to mention him.
Look at all these roaches.
That's the one.
There you have it. Getting back to the article.
Yes.
Next one they mentioned for having beef with the Hall of Fame, Greg Kihn.
Of the Greg Kihn Band?
Yes. Who, again, had one song. Jeopardy.
He lost on there. Oh, his love song. His love's in Jeopardy. That's right.
He had a wide list of complaints about the Rock Hall during a 2011 UCR interview. He says, I have issues with whoever is in the induction committee for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't understand where they're coming from. I say, throw the bums out. Let's start over again. They let people in that I wouldn't let in, and they're keeping people out that I would have welcomed in with open arms.
Yeah, see,
most of the guys.
He was parodied by Weird Al, so he has to be somebody.
Is Weird Al in? If not, he should be.
He should be, yes. Is it the Polka Hall of Fame? I'm sure he's already in that.
Most of the guys from my graduating class, I'm talking early 80s, are not in the Hall of Fame. It's obvious that there's a New York East Coast artsy-fartsy bias, he says. How do you explain Talking Heads being in and not Journey?
Journey's now
Journey,
in,
I believe, is in now, yes. They should both be in because that was a big thing because they had Ariel Pineda there. But I don't think they originally had Steve Perry on the list.
Steve Perry.
But
Steve Perry was there.
Yes, but originally I don't think he was going to be.
Yeah, it did not look like he was overly welcome there, but he was there.
The next one on the list, and we've talked about them, is Kiss.
Who?
Kids in Satan's Service. Isn't that what it was rumored to stand still? Knights in Satan's Service. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you're thinking Kids both. Incorporated. That's a whole different thing. That's where we got Martika.
And Kids Bop.
We got Martika and Fergie from Kids Incorporated.
Most bands that criticize the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame change their tune once they get voted in.
Yes.
Kiss pulled off the nifty trifecta of openly feuding with them before, during, and after their induction. It's become a joke.
Who, Kiss?
Said Gene Simmons of the Hall of Fame in 2012. Again, fantastic showmen.
Oh, yes.
Horrible fucking musicians.
I have seen them
horrible musicians
on multiple occasions because they do put on an incredible stage show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's where it stops.
So does Guar.
Yes. Locals.
They're
here.
not in.
Locals out of Richmond.
So they were inducted in 2014. In 2012, Gene Simmons said it's become a joke. We've been thinking about it, and the answer is simply, we'll just buy it and fire everybody.
Yes, we will buy the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Angered by the Rock Hall's decision to honor only the band's original lineup, Kiss refused to perform at the ceremony, and Paul Stanley took a shot at the voting committee during his acceptance speech.
That's the during part.
Here we are, basically inducted for the same things that we were kept out for. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
After the ceremony, he kept up the attack, accusing the event organizers of poor communication. Our treatment at the RRHOF confirmed my worst suspicions. Wenner and the rest are spineless weasels.
There's the spineless weasel quote.
Weasels have spines. Jellyfish don't. You can say spineless jellyfish.
Well, that's kind of inferred.
Next on the list is Deep Purple.
Oh,
aforementioned.
Yes. And actually think we're going to get to a Deep Purple reference.
Before they were inducted in 2016, Deep Purple singer Ian Gillan shared some unfiltered thoughts about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame voters. I have no respect for them, he declared to me.
British?
Mm-hmm. Those people are bloody arrogant and rude. I've heard that somebody on their committee dismissed us as one-hit wonders.
Bollocks. Oh, sorry.
Smoke on the water.
No, they also had
I'm sure that's the one he's talking about, though.
Yes.
But they had Hush. They had Kentucky Women.
What's
they
the
had
Highway?
Knocking at Your Back Door. Strange is Black
Highway
Knight.
Star? Is that the
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Because it's gonna bug me. It is Highway Star. And fuck this. I'm playing Highway Star. What the fuck is he playing? That keyboard, Deep Purple, that was a staple.
Next on the list, Def Leppard.
Joe Elliott ate some crow.
In 2014, Def Leppard's Joe Elliott described Rock Hall voters as a boardroom of faceless tuxedo-wearing morons. We already had that quote. His bandmates expressed their willingness to participate in the ceremony if they were inducted. During the same interview, Joe Elliott was less sure. Is it going to pay my mortgage off? Is it going to put my kid through school? Am I going to sleep better at night? I don't give a flying
pay $25,000 for a table, I hear.
I don't give a flying rat's ass about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. However, after an increased emphasis on fan voting helped the group get in 2019, Mr. Elliott had some deep fried crow. I think it's a nice badge of honor. It was something that we weren't overly concerned about until the fan vote thing became a major part of it. The people that really matter to every band are the audience. And to that, I understand the thought process there. And I'll give them.
And his drummer's only got one arm.
Yes. Bloodhound Gang taught us that.
They did tell you that.
Next on the list, Judas Priest.
Yes, Mr. Rob Halford.
Who I just recently listened to this week because Living After Midnight came on the radio. And then I listened to the Disturbed version.
I would have gone with Screaming for Vengeance.
Well, it was on Sirius XM. I couldn't decide what was coming on. They played it for me.
Fair.
When his bandmates were once again passed over for Rock Hall induction in 2020, recent Judas Priest guitarist Richie Faulkner cut loose in their defense. These institutions, these institutions are founded on what these guys helped create, and to not be included is a total joke.
Judas Priest, also British.
If you want to call it the Rock Hall, then you should start with a healthy foundation of rock in all its forms to build on. They did.
They did, yeah.
The band did get inducted 2 years later in 22, but as recipients of the Musical Excellence Award instead of as part of the performing class.
Yeah, that's a thing that happens.
That didn't initially sit well with Rob Halford, the lead singer. He says, well, yeah, I was pissed. I was a bit pissed. At the end of the day, does it matter? Some days I go, no, it doesn't matter. We're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Be grateful and shut the fuck up.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't matter why you're there. You're there. You're inside.
The guys who get voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee are just as much Hall of Famers as people voted in by the sports writers.
Yeah.
Steve Miller.
Of the Steve Miller Band?
Yes.
Okay.
It's safe to say Steve Miller didn't have a good time during his induction in 2016. I said this for 30 years, he explained the following week. I don't get along with the people running it. When I found out about it, I felt like I was in a fucking reality TV show. It wasn't very overwhelming. It was a lazy kind of night with a bunch of fat cats at the dinner table. It's not a real pleasant experience, to tell the truth. After echoing their complaints about the Sex Pistols and their $10,000 fee, it would have cost him to bring more than one guest to the ceremony, Miller questioned the purpose of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You tell me, what the hell is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and what does it do besides talk about itself and sell postcards?
And make money.
He's got a point.
Yeah.
Joe Walsh. There's a lot of us artists would change about the induction ceremony and who they pick. The corporate sponsors get to pick the nominees, and then the people get to vote. And this was back in a 2018 interview. There's a lot of people. I don't know why they're in there. And there's a lot of people. I don't know why they're not. Now, he was inducted into the Rock Hall as a member of the Eagles back in 1998. So this is 20 years later that he's pissing and moaning. But his solo career, which consists of Life's Been Good to Me, and that's it, and
so
Time
far
with James Gang, have yet to receive similar honors. I couldn't tell you one James Gang song, and that's probably why. Next on the list, Trent Reznor. In a 2018 interview, Nine Inch Nails frontman Trent Reznor declared he honestly couldn't give less of a shit about being inducted. It's irritating every year that suddenly my inbox lights up with, oh man, sorry about, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're sorry? I don't care.
He also expressed his fear about being asked to take the stage with other artists. He goes, the worst would be if we did get inducted, and then what? We'd have to fucking show up and jam?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what that would be. However, he did agree to give an induction speech for The Cure the following year, and then he had a revelation. It ended up being a pretty cool experience, he concluded. And I thought, all right, it doesn't feel as bullshit as I kind of snarkily dismissed it as.
Yeah, I haven't been there, so it's stupid. Then I got there and thought, this would be cool.
And then he says, I don't have any problem admitting that I've changed my opinion about something. Nine Inch Nails were inducted the following year in a COVID-mandated virtual ceremony that allowed Reznor to not worry about a fucking jam session.
It was
so
like
best of both worlds for him. Paul Rogers is next.
Ooh, Paul Rogers.
From Bad Company and Free.
And Free, yes.
During a 2023 interview with radio host Eddie Trunk, Paul Rogers revealed that he had turned down an offer to join the Hall of Fame in an unspecified role.
So he wasn't turning down being inducted. He was turning down
wanted him to be part of the committee, I guess.
Of some capacity, yes.
Years and years ago, Ahmet Erdogan, who was the head of Atlantic Records and a co-founder of the Hall of Fame, said to me, Paul, we're making this museum of rock and roll. Do you guys want to be part of it? The singer turned down the offer, declaring, I don't think rock and roll belongs in a museum. He then went on to explain that he turned down a couple more invitations. He goes, it doesn't affect my daily life. It doesn't affect what I do in any way at all. The next band they're talking about is Foreigner, who I really like, by the way. Original Foreigner singer Lou Gramm says he knows what's keeping his band out of the Hall of Fame. It's a personal vendetta between the gentleman who owns Rolling Stone, Jan Wenner, and Foreigner guitarist Mick Jones, he said in 23. It's very juvenile, the whole thing. And I don't think it's going to get any better. I think it's going to stay that way. I think we're being made an example of.
Pete Rose.
In 22, Winner said he had nothing against Foreigner. In fact, I was very good friends with Mick Jones, but Foreigner's name has never come up in a nominating committee to be nominated. I find that very difficult to believe. Foreigner were the kings of 1980s fucking power ballads. Graham's successor, Kelly Hansen, said the math doesn't add up.
Is that one of the Hansen brothers?
Spelled differently.
Okay.
As an entity, I find it unusual that a group of people can have an arbitrary standard from which they decide who is in the substantial sounding titled Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he said to the Houston Press back in 23. They cite as one of their criteria as influence. Well, how many people have picked up a guitar and tried to learn Cold as Ice or Hot Blooded or sing I Want to Know What Love Is in a karaoke bar?
Mm-hmm. You've probably done that.
I have. Yeah. This band has sold 80 million plus records, and that's records, not streams or downloads. That is the definition of influence, and I agree 100%. The next one they mention is Stephen Pearcy
of Rat,
the lead singer of Rat.
He says, has he come out of the cellar? Is that?
He says the Rock Hall is biased against his generation's hard rock bands.
I wouldn't argue that.
I don't know any of those type of bands that are really in. Maybe Van Halen.
Right, and Van Halen had feet in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So
they don't give a shit about us, he says, the 80s groups at all. The Hollywood scene, they don't give a shit. You're not going to see Motley Crue up there anytime soon or Rat. We were lucky enough to see Van Halen get in. Eventually, he says they'll have to get over themselves. Inevitably, they have to throw us a bone. Our genre of music in the 80s made billions of dollars for the music industry. Billions with a fucking B. And he is right.
Yeah.
And what do we get for it? Oh, it ain't cool. You're not cheesy enough or cheeky enough or whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. It's like, fuck you. I have awards in my office that mean more to me than having a Grammy or something because it's from the hardcore fans and it's from the heart. And then he added, well, he should have added, and I did a fucking Geico commercial.
Yeah. He said, who gives a fuck about a goddamn Grammy?
Next member they mention is Vinny Appice.
I know that name. Why do I know that name?
He was the drummer for Black Sabbath and Dio. I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame sucks, he says in 2020. Period. It's supposed to be rock and roll, and there's people in there that's not rock and roll one bit. And again, that's the tired argument.
Right.
And just the way they do business. It took them that long to put Black Sabbath in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Ozzy said don't put him in.
Black Sabbath started all this stuff. He's particularly unhappy that his longtime bandmate, Ronnie James Dio, hasn't been honored. Ronnie should have been in there even by himself. He's been in all these major bands and major albums, and he's not in there. It's sad. I don't even care that they didn't induct Dio, the band Dio, but they should have did him and mentioned us. So that fucking place is a joke, the whole thing. Todd Rundgren, because he don't want to work. He just wants to bang on his drum all day.
All day.
After being nominated in 2021, Todd Rundgren said the institution was an industry invention and argued that true halls of fame are for retirees and dead people. It's no secret that I don't care about it, he explained. It doesn't matter how many times they nominate me. It's not going to make me care. When he was inducted that year, he didn't attend the ceremony, but he did concede that the event was cause for celebration for his fans. They're the ones who wanted it. They're the ones who voted. And now they've got it.
Now they got, yes.
Toto. Steve Lukather had an answer when asked why Toto wasn't in the Hall of Fame. Because they hate
song, isn't it?
Because they hate our guts and have since 1978. Their distaste for Africa has continually kept Toto at bay. It's like they think we're only worth one song. And it's like, dude, we got a lot of material. Still, he insisted he's not holding any grudges. I don't care. We're moving on. I wish everybody well. Now, see, I love Africa as a song, but I also love Hold the Line. I thought it was a great song.
Love isn't always on time, so.
This one kind of surprised me. Bon Jovi. John Bon Jovi. In a 2016 interview with Howard Stern, John Bon Jovi theorized that a personal feud with two fuckers on the Rock Hall voting board had kept his band from being inducted.
Oh, by the way, do you know that Toto has 14 albums?
I do know that. It's crazy how many records they have. I called the guy a few choice words, and I'm never shy when I see him to call him a few more. There's other guys on that thing that have made it their personal mission to fuck with me, he explained. And that's okay. I get it. I've sold more records than their artists. 2 years later, the group was inducted, and John Bon Jovi marked the occasion by giving the longest, most
self-aggrandizing yes, I remember reading
speech
that part.
in recorded history. Sammy Hagar.
You're welcome.
Yes. Sammy Hagar is next. While congratulating Bon Jovi on their Rock Hall induction, Sammy Hagar had a few choice words about the voting process. Congratulations to all the inductees, especially Bon Jovi, who was kept off the ballot for so long and when nominated, swept the votes unanimously. This was in a tweet. It just goes to show the people are the ones who should always control the vote. Paul Stanley came back and offered a more blunt assessment of Bon Jovi's induction. Great to see the hall with little choice while choking on its own stagnant, toxic air, except to open its eyes, ears, and doors to survive by reluctantly becoming what it was meant to be all along.
Nice.
And then as a bonus...
Oh, we have a bonus.
Howard Stern. Howard's theory as to why Bon Jovi finally got in. No one else wanted to go to Cleveland.
There you go.
They said, who's willing to go to Cleveland? And John raised his hand. Wouldn't it be great television to suddenly see Bruce Springsteen or Sting? And it would be nice for the bands like the Moody Blues to see some of their contemporaries sitting in the audience. That's why you do it in New York or L.A., because that's where these people are. They're not in fucking Cleveland.
No one's
They don't care
Cleveland.
about getting on a jet and going to fucking Cleveland.
The Browns and the Guardians are in Cleveland. And the Cavs.
So there's a whole lot of fuck the hall sentiment. Now, rappers in the hall.
Yes.
We've talked about this list in the past. The hip hop acts that have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to date.
To date, yes.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Yes. Once again,
Run
the
DMC.
first. Yes.
Run DMC.
Totally warranted.
Beastie Boys.
Yes.
Who were originally a punk act. Let's not forget that.
Yep. Actually, I went to see Pennywise and Dropkick Murphys the other night.
They just played the Civic Center the other night, too. Yeah.
Hell of a show. But Pennywise broke down and they said, we started in I don't remember what year it was. 88? I think 88. So we started in 1988 and there was a lot of other bands that started the same year as us, and they went through all these punk bands and hardcore bands, and they're like, and the Beastie Boys, and they're like, hey, they were a punk band, and they played "Fight for Your Right to Party." Pennywise did during that show.
Nice. Public Enemy is in.
Who would give a goddamn Public Enema?
Still the greatest induction speech I've ever heard.
Yes.
Harry Belafonte. I'm telling you, if you've never seen it, go to fucking YouTube and look it up. NWA, Tupac, Biggie,
which we explained why we believe, he's got two albums, but
they were two gigantic albums as far as the bringing hip hop back to New York,
and his impact on other artists to get them back into New York hip hop.
LL,
I can't argue with that one.
Jay-Z,
influence
again,
I guess,
based off of influence, and Eminem.
Yep. Hi, John.
Hometown Girl for You, Missy Elliott.
Yes.
And that's it.
Okay.
As of right now.
Now let's hang up on those last two.
Missy and M?
Yes. I have no issue with either of them being future Hall of Fame members. I mean, obviously they're already in. I can't stop that.
Right.
But how many rappers, MCs, hip hop bands do you think should have been in before the two of them? Missy being the first female hip hop artist inducted. How does that sit with you as a hip hop fan in general?
I think for the first female hip hop artist, especially solo.
Mm-hmm.
I love Missy. I think she's fantastic.
Yes. Taking nothing away from her.
It should have been Queen Latifah or MC Light first.
I totally agree. Because you don't get to Missy without those stepping stones. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to put Sha Rock in, because even though her influence is huge, her depth of catalog doesn't exist. She's
a member of Funky 4+1, and she was always in a group.
Mostly pre-album release MC.
Right.
So, yes, I believe that she should also be in. But based on all the criteria that they put out there, Light or Latifah have to go in before Missy. So I was a little irritated about that. Obviously, I'm very happy that Missy went in. She's a great performer. She's a great MC. But
and a great person.
Yes. And there's a road named after her down the road here.
But I think for the first female solo artist from hip hop to go in, there were better choices than Missy to be the first. Not taking anything away from Missy.
Right.
But
like, I don't take anything away from Eminem as far as his catalog, his influence, what he did for Detroit. I don't take any of that away from him. But when you look at some of the other artists and you go, well, maybe, somebody else could have been higher on that. I'll even go before Jay-Z. There's some people whose names you go, well, what about
M
this
was
person?
Put in 22.
Right. I know his was recent, and
Jay-Z was in 21.
Right.
My hot take, M should have been in before Jay-Z, and here's why.
Was he eligible?
His first record was 99. So
if his first record was 99, the 25 years has just passed, right?
Unless they're counting stuff that he released before the Slim Shady LP.
Okay.
Because he was an underground battle rapper. Now he was elected in 2022, so that would have been 97.
Yeah,
for 25 years,
and that's not right.
My thing is, unless they changed the 25 thing,
Maybe
I don't know.
Did, yeah.
But the man won an Oscar. Very difficult to win an Oscar for best song from a rap movie, and 8 Mile, whole lot fucking better than it had any right to be.
And again, I'm not arguing that he shouldn't be there.
So that's why I think he should have been in before Jay-Z.
Sure.
But Jay-Z, he's a businessman.
So I've heard.
So,
but music,
I think he got in when he should have. I don't know who I would have said is not in.
Eric B. and Rakim.
Fantastic
KRS-One.
influence. Fantastic influence.
Heavy D.
But not household names.
But
his main thing was the crossover appeal, I think.
Well, that'll bring me back to Heavy D then.
Heavy D, I think, before the other two you mentioned.
Yeah.
Because Heavy D had crossover appeal.
Yes,
plus
he did.
He had the acting chops.
Yes, he did.
So, yeah, you would think they would have made that a movie or something.
Yeah, but
probably
there was
they
no
should
Mekhi
name it after
Phifer,
that.
so.
No. There's no way, and you can't buy diapers either.
No.
But that's your hip hop artist in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So,
and Tribe, De La. These are other names. You go, well, how do you not put them in?
I think their time will come. I think Tribe is Tribe up
Tribe's
for induction this year?
Yes.
De La, I think, will be up for induction next year, especially with the passing of Dave. So that's my guess.
Yeah.
And the re-release of all the catalog.
Now that Tommy Boy doesn't exist.
Yeah. So let's go back, shall we? 15 years.
Oh.
15 years on my wife's birthday, April 4th. 2009.
Yes.
The second rap group to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five is Run DMC.
Yes, you may have heard of them.
The honor came well deserved. And again, thankfully, they found the guys and convicted who murdered Jam Master Jay.
Mm-hmm.
From their music to their style, Run DMC was immortalized. Their image in music history based off of their clothes, the Adidas, the black jeans. Nobody else was wearing them like that. So, why were Run DMC put in there? Let's start with style.
Yes, which was all Jay.
Adidas were probably on their last legs before Run DMC started popping and made a song with their name in the title.
Yeah. Heavy D also did the same thing with Nike, but it didn't pan out the same.
Rivaled only by Nike, and Nike didn't need the push, man. Nike had Michael Jordan.
Well, yeah. Heard of that guy.
And Puma, Adidas has grown to become a household name in both fitness and style.
Light blue Puma?
Mm-hmm.
Whole lot of gold?
In its early stages, Adidas' popularity in the hip-hop community can be attributed pretty much to Run DMC. Everywhere they went, they were head to toe in Adidas with a gold rope chain and a black top hat.
Mm-hmm.
From the jewelry to the full sweatsuits to the fat lace shell-toe low tops, Run DMC were undoubtedly fly in their Adidas gear. Crossover appeal. You might have heard they did a little thing with another band that was almost close to breaking up.
I say, yeah, revived their career, yes.
And that would be Aerosmith. And we talked in the past about how they said, we were on our last legs, man. If this thing didn't work, we were done. And the first time do you remember the first time you heard Walk This Way with them?
I'm sure it was on UMTV Raps.
For me, it was Yo MTV Raps, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yep.
Because I didn't even know who Aerosmith was. And after that, it made me go out and buy Aerosmith's greatest hits. And I was like, wait a second, I've heard some of these songs before. Yeah. That's when I discovered Dream On and Sweet Emotion. And
yeah, see, I knew those songs because coming up, that's the stuff my dad was listening to in the house. Mm-hmm. So I knew those songs.
Now, you know me and my growing up, I didn't have that sort of stuff. My dad was country.
Johnny Cash and
yep. So the crossover appeal was huge.
Video, by the way.
Yes. Influence. The editor of All Music wrote that more than any other hip hop group, Run DMC are responsible for the sound and style of the music. And they helped the music transform from dance club oriented songs like Curtis Blow with the breaks.
These all the
to
breaks.
More aggressive tracks like It's Like That. And that's the way it is.
Huh. Oh.
If there's no It's Like That with that kind of a little bit of oomph to it, do we get Public Enemy? Do we get Boogie Down Productions? Do we get the Wu-Tang Clan eventually out of that?
Right.
And then they influenced other bands too that weren't hip hop bands, these new metal artists like Linkin Park, Korn, Rage.
You think EPMD, their logo is the Run DMC logo, just broken. Logo.
Yeah. Yep. I remember. I think Eric said that to us. So, No MCA is our next article. And again, we're going back.
Yes.
Way back.
How far back? Way back.
And we go a little something like this. Hit it. Let's go back to 2012.
Let's do that.
So 12 years ago.
We were not doing this show yet.
And 12 years ago, he was still alive, but
ill.
But ill. And he had a license for it.
He did.
when Beastie Boys were inducted, MCA was not able to be there. He said Adam Yauch quietly announced he wasn't going to be able to attend in a brief statement saying Beastie Boys regret Adam MCA Yauch will be unable to join Mike D and Ad Rock at the band's induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mike, Adam, and Adam are truly grateful for the honor, but with only 2 of the 3 Beasties attending, they will unfortunately not be able to perform. At the time, he was fighting cancer. They never mentioned it.
He lost that fight.
They didn't mention it in their acceptance speech. No, I heard, and I actually said this when my mother-in-law passed away. I don't think anybody ever loses the fight to cancer. Cancer doesn't win, because when you die, the cancer dies with you. Yeah. So they fought to a draw. That's how I choose to look at it. So, he says, I'd like to dedicate this to my brothers, Adam and Mike, which was on a thank you note that they read at the ceremony. At the induction, yeah. They walked the globe with me. It's also for anyone who's ever been touched by our band. This induction is much yours as it is ours.
Is it Tila Rock was there?
Mm-hmm.
It's yours.
On a video posted on the group's official website in July 2009, Yock revealed he was diagnosed with cancer in his parotid gland. They delayed the release of Hot Sauce Committee Part 1 and canceled the tour so that he could undergo surgery and radiation.
Right.
And then after his surgery, he said he was feeling healthy and strong and hopeful that I've beaten this thing. And then he went to India for Tibetan doctors and to attend a workshop hosted by the Dalai Lama. So the group's assumed set at the Rock and Roll Hall induction would have been the first major appearance since he revealed his appearance. Yes, so we'll just throw letters in there. Since he was diagnosed 3 years prior. They're only the third hip hop act welcomed at the time, following Flash and Run DMC, because they would not perform without MCA. Kid Rock, Black Thought, and Travie McCoy dressed up in matching green Adidas tracksuits and turned out a Beasties medley.
And they turned that mother out.
Featuring Sabotage, So What You Want, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, with the Roots serving as the backing band. So
that does not suck.
To have the Roots as your backup band? No, that's a pretty good, better than a garage band.
Yes.
Music Heroes is your next article. Let's go back.
How far back?
Way back to 2012. Chuck D at the time, when they were going in, told Billboard that their induction resonated deeper than just with his group. And it did. It's not an achievement for Public Enemy per se, as much as I think it's an achievement for hip hop and rap music to be legitimized.
Yes.
Now that's Chuck for you.
It is. It's not about me. It's about the culture.
Us going in is a win for our peers, like Curtis or KRS-One or Queen Latifah. They're our peers. Run DMC, Beasties, Grandmaster Flash, they're our peers too. I feel thankful we're joining that list, but we also look to shine the light on so many others and tell them that this is their induction too.
Yes.
He says, I've thought since day one that we should be recognized as much as anybody in rock, he says. That's always been my fight, to make this genre as official and legitimate as other artists. And he has great respect not only for the other inductees that they went in with, but also the other finalists that didn't get inducted. And he said the reason why is, as DJs, we played all that music. Yes. And we play it today. We consider ourselves students of music. So somebody like Deep Purple and Chic, they mean the world to us. He says, we're not going to say the people that didn't get in are less worthy. We just love music. So,
yeah. So
Chuck also said back then,
music,
he goes,
but Gene Simmons can only love rock and roll.
Yeah. He goes, I've been writing that speech for 25 years, man, talking about his induction speech. But don't look for him to go the black tie route. He goes, I look good in the tux, but I ain't wearing one. So Chuck always bringing the realism to this sort of thing.
And bringing the noise.
Absolutely. Fuck Gene Simmons is the next article. I believe it was our first time ever fuck Gene Simmonsing. And he has doubled down on this year after year after year. And now it's not just hip hop music. He's got a problem with people like Kurt Cobain going in.
Yes, because that's not rock and roll.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during an interview, Kiss Gene Simmons said many artists do not belong there. Here's the list of what he says shouldn't be in. He says, you got Grandmaster Flash, Run DMC, you're killing me. That doesn't mean they're not good artists, but they don't play guitar. They sample and they talk. Fucking Lou Reed talked. He says, Donna Summer, I knew and liked her. She was on my solo record. But if you ask Donna what kind of artist you think she'd say rock? She doesn't belong. If you ask Madonna what kind of artist are you, do you think she would say rock? No. So what the hell are they doing in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because they're fucking music icons.
Yes. You're still hung up on terminology.
And Simmons also feels that bands and solo artists don't belong in the hall if they only had a few hit albums, regardless of the fact that it's based off of influence.
Name me a Kiss hit album.
Kiss Alive. That's the only one I know of.
And Alive 2.
Yeah.
They did a disco album. Dynasty was a disco album.
Mm-hmm. Gene Simmons says Nirvana only released three studio albums before Cobain's death. Simmons thinks Cobain doesn't deserve the honor.
Okay.
I don't think they deserve the honor because I'm not a Nirvana fan.
Right, and that's why you can't vote, because you take personal preference, not their impact.
Knowing their impact and knowing what they meant, that Seattle sound, that whole grunge thing was built off the back of Nirvana and Pearl Jam
and Stone Temple Pilots
and Stone Temple Pilots, and to a lesser extent Alice in Chains.
Yeah. So you can't discount them.
I wouldn't not vote them to go in. I would put them in. I just wouldn't play them in my collection I would play Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains 100 times before I put a Nirvana record on. Amy Winehouse.
She's not eligible yet, is she?
2 studio albums before her death. She thinks, Simmons thinks she's unworthy of the hall. For context, Nirvana's been inducted. Winehouse is not currently eligible because she needs to be 25. You know, the debut album needs to be 25 years old.
I don't think she goes in.
I don't think she goes in either. But people love Amy Winehouse.
They do, but
Janelle loves Amy Winehouse. I actually think Amy Winehouse was very talented, but all of her talent went up her nose. Next article, fuck Gene Simmons again.
Still, again, over and over, whatever. Like bicycle wheel to turn over.
Yes. NWA went in 2016.
Yes.
They finally shut Gene Simmons up.
Yes.
Or attempted to.
Yeah, you can't shut the dude up. He's just going to talk because he'll listen to himself. So
one of his opinions is that rap will die. I'm looking forward to the death of hip hop. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's not going to die. It's the largest selling genre in music right now. Well, during NWA's induction, MC Ren shut down Simmons' prediction in no uncertain terms. I want to say to Mr. Gene Simmons that hip hop is here forever, said Ren. We're supposed to be here. At the time, it was done in the Barclays Center, so they did move out of Cleveland for the induction ceremony.
The ruthless villain.
Responded with cheers. A few boos could be heard, either in protest to hip hop or in Simmons' defense. Ice Cube gave a speech later on, which at the time they said was the most well-worded up to that point. And he explained why exactly NWA and hip hop in general belong in the rock and roll. He goes, the question is, are we rock and roll? Cube says, and I say to you, you goddamn right we rock and roll. Rock and roll is not an instrument. It's not even a style of music. It's a spirit that's been going on since the blues, jazz, bebop, soul, rock and roll, R&B, heavy metal, punk rock, and yes, hip hop. And if you had a difference of opinion with Cube pointed out the real spirit of rock is not to slavishly follow what's been done before, but to forge your own path. He goes, rock and roll in its existence was not conforming to the people who came before you, but creating your own path. That's rock and roll.
Like hip hop and punk.
Us.
And, yes.
So I love it when Gene Simmons gets told to fuck off. The first solo rapper inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, male or female, was
Tupac.
Who Parks Your Car? That's
Indeed.
right. And that was back in 2017. He was inducted by Snoop, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And Snoop at the time said, while many remember him now as some kind of thugged out superhero, Pac was really was only good as a person. He represented through his music like no one before. The fact that he never shied away from it. He wore it like a badge of honor. And he did. I'm more of a Pac fan than I am a Biggie fan.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that Pac died in 96. In a recording career tragically cut short, Tupac sold 75 million records, over 75 million records, while he was alive.
That's a few.
All Eyes on Me, his greatest hits collection, both surpassing the 10 million sales mark.
Millions.
Since his murder in 96 at the age of 25, his legend and impact have continued to expand across the globe. He's become an international symbol of resistance and outlaw spirit, which is an irresistible contradiction and a definitive rap anti-hero. I think it's a pretty apt description.
It is.
For one of the more polarizing guys in hip-hop, but most definitely deserving of being a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, if you ask me. And then snubs is our last article. The worst snubs in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, some of these have been taken care of.
Yes. We've traveled to the future, so.
We have, yes. So when they're talking about snubs at the time, there's people like Eric B. and Rakim, MC
Light
Light
this year.
MC Light
as a rock.
I don't think Snoop's in yet.
No.
And he deserves. Latifah's not in yet.
No, she's on vacation.
Ghetto Boys are not in yet.
Yeah.
Quest is up for it this year.
Right.
Wu-Tang has been eligible since 2018, and they're not in.
Nope. Have they been on a ballot?
I don't even think they've been nominated. No.
Yeah, that's a disturbing thing because, okay, you take a look at it. We said Eminem went in 22.
Yep.
Wu-Tang doesn't go before Eminem.
It's crazy.
That one's tough.
Just crazy.
Again, I totally believe Eminem and Missy should be in. I'm not saying that. But when Wu-Tang hasn't even been
nominated
and
there's
they're
something
in,
wrong.
That's an issue.
Queen Latifah, she's been eligible since 2014. Snoop, been eligible since 18. He's got 16 studio albums under his belt and 37 million albums sold.
And a reggae album.
MC Light, we mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
Eric B. and Rakim up this year. KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions.
Boogie Down Productions.
They've been eligible for 12 years. I don't even think they've gotten a sniff.
Nope. Chili D is not in.
Ice-T. He's got the crossover appeal.
He does. He's superstar appeal.
He's been eligible for 17 years.
Yeah.
Ghetto Boys. Been eligible for 11 years. Never even gotten a sniff.
Yep.
And, I mean, there's a lot more. There's a lot more they didn't even mention. I mean, let's think of who else.
Heavy D and the Boys.
Heavy D and the Boys, yes.
I'll tell you Gangstar, but, it's...
Here's one for you. Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. Now, they're not rock by Gene Simmons talk, but...
But neither is Gene Simmons. Like I said, he had a disco album.
You can't deny what they meant to the music.
No.
So there's still a whole lot of people that need to be considered for this. But that being said, we are going to take our first break. We've reached the end of Hip Hop Headlines. Quick break, one piece of Woo News, and then we're going to give you 2 records by Rock and Roll Hall of Famers coming up on episode 533 of Mr. Throwback Thursday.
Check Chaka Khan.
I was sitting on the corner just wasting my time, and when I realized I was the king of the rhyme, I got on.
It's the king of hip hop himself, Grandmaster Melly Mel, voice of the legendary hip hop group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. And this shout out goes to Jamie and Bill. And I love to endorse the show, and I wish everybody would tune in on Throwback Thursdays because they've been doing it for 5 years. So Jamie and Bill, you keep up the good work. And this is Melly Mel, the king of hip hop, and I'm out. And wait a minute, let me not forget.
That street talk game. So if you ever let me make this clear, if you ever think that we're stepping out of here, you ever think you're getting up, down, around, or in, you better think again, my friend.
1 2 1 2. What's good, yo? This is Ghostface straight from Staten Island, New York. And right about now, it's time for Woo News with Jamie and Bill. Y'all know what it is. Get it correct. Mr. Throwback Thursdays, Jamie and Bill. You know what I mean? On Woo News. That's what's going down right now. Y'all check this out. Exclusive. Peace.
The RZA, the Jizza, Raekwon, Master Killer, Inspector Jack, You God, Method Man, Ghostface Killer, and Old Dirty Bastard.
It's now time for Woo News with Mr. Throwback Thursday.
Shimmy on it.
Welcome back, Mr. Throwback Thursday, episode 533. It is indeed time for Woo News, this special Rock and Roll Hall of Fame edition of Mr. Throwback Thursday. We have one piece of Woo News.
Just one.
And we just talked about them being a snub.
We did.
And Billboard magazine brings us this. RZA has come out and said in the past that they at least deserve to have their name called at the induction ceremony.
Yes.
They have yet to be nominated. They became eligible in 2017, and RZA says, I think we should get in, and I do care.
Yeah.
It may take some time to get in there. I think it's good for us, and I think it's good for rock and roll because hip-hop is a form of music that grabs from every genre, but definitely grabs from rock and roll. And then when they asked him about it, he says, look, listen to Bring the Ruckus on 36 Chambers, he says.
The motherfucking Ruckus.
I thought I was making hip hop, but shit, it has a motherfucking rock and roll groove like a motherfucker, he says. I don't know how the fuck I did that. I go back and listen to some of the Beatles progressions and some Led Zeppelin progressions and movements, and I was like, okay, I was on some shit, though. And he's not wrong.
No.
Back then, Kanye had said that rap is a new rock and roll, and RZA agrees. He says rock and roll has a certain spirit. It is the spirit of the 60s and 70s youth. Hip hop is the 80s, 90s, and 2000s,
and early 2000s
up to now. The youth, he said, it's called hip hop, but it's in the same spirit of rock and roll at the end of the day. Lyrical stories, music, unorthodox, dissonant sometimes, energetic, all the things that rock is and was, that's hip hop. And he's not wrong.
Yeah.
So we're not even going to pick on anybody in the Woo this week.
Yeah,
we're just going to go.
Because they're not in the Rock Hall. If they were in the Rock Hall, we would say, how did you guys get in there? But we're not.
We are going to go right into featured record number 1.
Yes.
The first group
one
to ever receive induction in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
But this
album is labeled as Grandmaster Melly Mel and the Furious Five.
Because it is. I don't like that they've put it up here on Spotify as Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five because Flash is not on this album.
No, they had split.
Yeah.
It was released in 1984.
There was a bunch of members that split, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where they brought in all the fake guys?
Yes, for this album, Melly Mel kept the group name The Furious Five, although lineup had changed. Rappers Cowboy and Scorpio left with Mel, although Kid Creole and Raheem remained with Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah.
New rappers King Lou, Kamikaze, and Tommy Gunn joined, as did Flash's best friend Easy Mike as the DJ.
Couldn't have been Flash's best friend if he went and took his spot as a DJ when he left the band.
You know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
This is true.
This record came out in 1984 on Sugar Hill Records. 45 minutes and 48 seconds. And has 9 tracks on it. No,
9 tracks
was not
that
on
you
there.
probably haven't heard.
Well, you're going to hear them now.
I mean, there's going to be one because there's a remix of an old one, but
right.
And it's not even their song. It's Duke's.
Nope. Track number 1, Hustlers Convention.
This record is dedicated to Kool Herc.
I 3-car mile is the name of the game. We play in New York, but it was made in Spain. Who say red like a rooster head? You pick the red, you get all my red. Black, you get no money back. Who see the red like that?
It's the one in the middle.
All right, my friend, you got the red, so you get all the red. You see black, you get no money back. We gonna try it again, my friend, till it has no end. Because the red card you win, the black card you lose. It all depends on the card that you choose. All right, 10 to get you 20, 20 get you 40.
Now you've been to Manhattan, and
many times,
and they don't have the 3-car money dealers anymore, do they?
No, they do not. They cleaned that part up.
I remember going. I was in, I think, like 8th grade because it was a school thing. I went with Mr. Hanneberg, and we went down there, and I watched Jason Buckley just get fleeced at 3-car money. I mean, like money, his rings. He was taking, because you remember Buckley in school, he had like the jacket and the like the metal guy.
Yep.
So he was taking off all these skull rings and putting them down. I'm like, dude, and this is 8th grade.
Yeah. He was out of his mind with that. Track number 2, Yesterday.
Sound like a Lisa Cult Jam song.
It does.
With full force.
You don't look at me the way you used to do.
It's almost like the Greatest American Hero theme, too.
And you don't say to me.
That's frightening.
What, that there's a Greatest American
3.
Hero reference? Or
At the Party.
Good evening. I go by the name of Keith Cowboy. I'm down with Grandmaster and the Furious 5. I'm from the Bronx, New York, and I want to know how many people came out there to have a good time tonight. If you did, please signify by throwing your right hand above your head. Come on, everybody. Let's go to work now.
Check us out, we're here tonight. We're gonna have a party. Check us out, we're here tonight. We're gonna have a party. Here we are, having a good time.
Track number 4 is a new remix. New at the time, of course. New being a relative word.
Remix.
New
Don't
remix of White Lines.
Rock! Freeze! Rock, 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 rock.
That's 35 seconds of freeze. Rock.
So we froze. Track number 5. We don't work for free. Right now you don't work at all.
All the stage lights are shining bright. Hey, and we work very hard to make you stay. But it ain't no thing, y'all. Cause I know that you can hang. We're not too expensive, but you got to pay.
Sounds like some new edition.
Old edition. Track number 6, The Truth. Yeah, this is the truth.
That's why we do what we like. Born to rock
the mic like E.F. Hutton, so don't say nothing. Yo,
I am the man called Scorpion,
E.F. Hutton,
the one that's seen and never heard. But all my sons just running their mouth, so it's time for Daddy to speak his word. You see, the biggest problem about all the MCs is I look good and they are ugly while they all getting together saying I'm not cool. The girls is out being my fool. Cause I'm the first attractive, exotic male to walk around town with beats in his hair. To be stopped on the street by the people I meet saying.
Walk around with beads in his hair. I thought he said bees. I'm like, is he Candyman?
Yes. Track number 7, World War III.
2, 1, 1984. World War III. Life is a game of business, and in the end we fight. From new, young, and old, our thought and soul, then everybody thinks they're right. War is a game of business, a game we shouldn't play, because men with guns killed all our sons and blew us all away, and they called it paranoia.
3.
Track number 8, Can't Keep Running Away.
Farsa. I like how it's listed on here. Can't keep running away, aka can't keep running away.
Yeah, that extra G really fucks with people.
Gangsta's Paradise, yes.
Only on Jeopardy.
Yep.
You got to get up and do your thing, even if you don't know how you think it's gonna swing. Yeah, can't keep running away.
Last track on the record, number 9, The New Adventures of Grandmaster.
Ooh.
Nice.
Sounds like the Doug Benson drop.
The official adventures of the magnificent
Hustler Supreme, Grandmaster,
Scorpio. Talking about the New Adventures of Grandmaster, and he's talking about Scorpio.
Mm-hmm. That is your first featured record for episode 533.
I'm wondering if that is a one and done.
I think it is under this title.
Right, under Grandmaster Melly Mel and the Furious Five.
I'm sure it is, because the next one they have was Piano in 1989.
Okay, so there is a second.
But they had The Message before that, which was a Grandmaster Flash
record. That was a Flash record, yeah.
So I don't know what Piano was. It doesn't tell me. So this may very well be a one and done. But that being said,
another time in the future, maybe.
Featured record number 2 features the second group ever inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Amazing how that's working out, right?
It is the first live album put out by Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees Run DMC. Officially released April 3rd, 2007, but recorded back in July 21st of 2001 in Montreux, Switzerland.
We all came out to Montreux.
This is Live at Montreux 2001 by Run DMC.
It is.
There are 13 tracks on this record.
And if John is still here, he should be happy.
He should be here because track 1 is Intro. This is one of the greatest live hip-hop records ever.
Y'all ready to rock?
Damn, Master J.
I said y'all ready? I can't hear you. Are you ready? Then everybody put your hands up. Jump, 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 jump. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Let me hear you say yeah. Say hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Say hola, hola,
hola.
Track number 2. It's like that.
And that's the way it
My name, Jam Master Jay, is his. He's the MC, that's right.
And that's the way it is.
People coming, people going, people want to die. Don't ask me because I don't know why, but it's like that. And that's the way it is.
Party people in the world trying to make ends meet. You travel by car, train, bus, or feet.
Well, I said you got to work hard.
You want to compete.
It's like that. And that's the way it is.
Track number 3. It's tricky.
It's tricky to rock around, that's right on time, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky to rock around, that's right on time, it's tricky. I met this little girlie, her hair was kinda curly. Went to her house and bust her out, I had to leave real early. These girls are really sleazy, all they just say is please me. Or spend some time and rock around, I say it's not that easy. It's tricky to rock around, that's right on time, it's tricky.
You was going to shoot him, Jay.
Track number 4 is a medley of rock box, sucker MCs, a freestyle, here we go, and beats to the rhyme.
Run, DMC. For you,
Everybody, throw your hands in the air. And wave like you just don't care. And if you're ready for Run DMC, somebody say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we won't stop as we don't stop. This rock.
Somebody scream.
For all you sucker MC perpetrating a fraud. God, I love that track. Track number 5, King of Rock.
Came up and said that you was the king of rap music.
What you talking about, man?
Somebody told me you was the king.
What are you saying?
I said you the king.
I don't hear you.
You the first to go gold.
I don't hear you.
First to go platinum.
I don't hear you.
First on the cover Rolling Stone.
I don't hear you.
First on MTV.
I don't hear you.
I said you the king, man.
I don't hear you.
You the king.
I don't hear you.
You the king.
I don't hear you.
You the king. You the king. You the king. Nigga, you the king.
I'm the king of rock. There is none higher. So MCs to call me
Sire.
Track number 6 is an interlude.
Is it a backspinterlude?
Living that line, you figure. Never driven by 9, never giving up a dime. Never was, never been that nigga. If you really won't test me, brother, don't stress me. Or your brother just be bowling. Brother, like a Jesse, brother, that's just me. And that's just my color. Not a player, hustler, hater, or buster over in Augusta, Georgia. Bust a cap like a gun and keep a nigga running, but it don't matter cause the culture. Torture like a teacher, but it don't reach us. Something like a preacher. Nobody come faster than a jam master. To the Aztec. Yeah.
Probably sound like that.
Track number 7, Mary, Mary.
Why you bugging?
1, 2, take this out.
Mary, Mary, why you bugging? Mary, Mary, I need your hugging. Spend up all my money. You and your girl busy. Stop smoking crack, but you're still getting pissy. You told me every day
Don't say it. Who's Lois Lane?
I was
Clark
walking.
Kent. For the roach with a 10.
Track number 8, featuring Aerosmith, Walk This Way.
That's the ad. It started with little kids like this.
Track number 9, School of Old.
Voice is just like a hurrah. Cain come invading and saying and invading terror. Those do When shows they knows I go over. Hoes chose to pose, but keep over. Come to see the 3 and the footage. Jay running DMC. That's what the hood is. Never been a time like this. It's so vital. Find your design to rhyme. Title. Placing up the cruiser with black jeans. I'm mad. Chasing on the mixer, give y'all feet a scratch. These are the kings from around the way.
You see Jam Master J.
Track number 10. It's over.
It's over.
We doing this shit. Ice crew style. See, we out here, dog. Everybody told me we wasn't gonna rock this motherfucker.
Yo, when it comes to the show that I rock and the flow that I drop, y'all know run, kill the mic. Can't forget about the old that I got and the flow that I spot. Y'all know I still be right. I ain't gonna take an old song, been around so long, so deaf to made it. Went from a DJ to an MC to the R&B
like overnight.
Track number 11, Runs Freestyle.
Hit it, Run.
Came up, blew the game up, try to tell me my reins up, bring my name up, have them hold them their flames up, talking about their dive, running them ever break up. Why? Flames. Cause I'm everything you wanted to be. It's your favorite MC. Looking for death? Come test the 3.
Flames,
Ever since belt buckles and leads and sucker MCs drop successful LPs consecutively.
Yeah.
When they heard I became known as Reverend Ron, they feared my career was all said and done. Thought I went gospel, now I went colossal to last longer. God on my side, now who's stronger?
Track number 12. Now Peter Piper picked Peppers.
The Run Rock Rhyme.
Peter Piper.
Peppers.
The Run Rock
Rhyme.
Humpty Dumpty fell
Down.
This is hard.
Time.
Jackie
Nibble.
was
Nibble.
and he was quick, but yeah,
Jack serving Joe bucket in his hand. The jam that's a chick. You know how that sound. Turntable might wobble, but they don't fall down.
Come on, somebody say run. Say DMC. Say JFJ.
Last track on the record, Down with the King.
Downtown King. You bust the most in New York State.
Reporters Clark. Producer Job. They wanna be down with the king.
Let's go.
And when you like it, just don't care. And if you wanna be down with the king, everybody say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Make some noise. Homeboys, make some noise.
With the king. Down with the king for years, about 10 of them.
And that is Live at Montreux 2001 by Run DMC. Featured record number 2 for episode 533, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame edition.
Yes.
We are going to take our
I
final
guess there's
break.
no charting action there, huh?
No. We're going to take our final break of the evening. And when I come back and Jamie comes back, which would be we come back, Bill will read some lyrics.
Yes, he will. Like it or
on
not.
Mr. Throwback Thursday, episode 533. Coming right back at you.
Born to rock around the clock. You can't say I'm not. And in case you forgot,
hey yo, what's up? This is me, DMC, in a place to be, and only place for you to be is with the one and only Jamie and Bill on Mr. Throwback Thursday. You got it?
I'll rock, rap, and I'll rock. I deal what I feel, and it feels fine. Then I will play around with sound, put down for the rhymes and say, beats flow from Joe and never stop.
But it starts with Bill.
I'm Bill S. Preston. It's called reading. Top to bottom, left to right. Group words together as a sentence. Take Tylenol for any headaches. Midol for any cramps.
Most people probably don't listen to the lyrics, but they should.
Welcome to Bill Reads Lyrics.
Hello, This is Bill Reed's Lyrics. It is an educational discussion of artistic expression and creativity of modern lyricists. Bill may recite explicit or offensive language. Professional supervision is suggested for sensitive listeners. The average views and opinions within these lyrics are not necessarily those of Mr. Throwback Thursday or its hosts, and will be in the area of 160 WPMs. We hope that you will find our presentation precise, humor-heavy, and just right. Thanks.
Welcome back, Mr. Throwback Thursday, episode 533. It is indeed time for Bill Reed's Lyrics. All right, my friend, I will pull up the private chat. You
should do that because that's where the lyrics are coming.
Oh, okay. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer.
Keeping with the theme.
Keeping with the theming. And where am I going?
Verse 1.
Okay.
It should say verse 1.
It does.
All right. Then with no type of ado, Sesame Street Grover Styley, whether nearer or further, we will cue the motherfucking piano.
I'd like to get to know you so I could show you. Put the pussy on you like I told you. Give me all your numbers so I can phone you. Your girl acting stank. Then call me over. Not on the bed. Lay me on your sofa. Call before you come. I need to shave my chocha. You do or you don't, or you will or won't you. Go downtown and eat it like a vulture. See my hips and my tips, don't you? See my ass and my lips, don't you? Lost a few pounds in my waist for you. This the kind of beat that go ra-ta-ta, ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Sex me so good, I say blah, blah, blah. Work it. I need a glass of water. Boy, oh boy, it's good to know ya.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Missy Elliott.
Yes. John was there.
Is
what
it
gave
worth
it away?
It?
Was it her shaving her chocha, or was it the rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta?
Probably the chocha.
Is he eating it like a vulture?
That too.
I don't give a hoot about this Bill reading lyrics bollocks. Let's get back to the hip and the hop, shall we?
Shall we?
All the bollocks one could handle for one episode.
Yes. We started with Never Mind the Bollocks, then everybody calling bollocks on the hall, and we end it with Bill Reed lyrics bollocks.
Bollocks.
Very well. So I believe it is time.
Hat has been changed.
Even though it's in the future and I'm not sure of the time.
Right.
I believe it is time.
Ask Morris Day. He's always got the time.
He does. For you to take us the fuck home.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame edition of Bill Reed's Lyrics.
Yeah,
Mr. Throwback Thursday, episode 533, with Bill Reed's Lyrics, of course. Brought to you in part by the world's strongest coffee, Death Wish Coffee. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or at deathwishcoffee.com. Use the code TBT to save 12% off of your order. And then the code Throwback saves you 10% every following order after that.
Ken wants
world's
to do a
strongest
giveaway.
coffee.
I think people would get mad if Ken won another giveaway.
Yes, we have nothing to give away.
Not now.
We're giving away the fact that this is going to be aired in about 4 weeks.
Maybe 2 weeks ago we did a giveaway. Who knows?
Who knows? I don't know. We're in the future.
Yeah,
I have no idea what's happened between
after you get to the future, and then let us know if we did a giveaway.
Because right now in the present, Mr. Throwback Thursday is also brought to you by friends of the show, Def Rugs, defrugs.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at Def Rugs. Handmade, high-quality hip-hop themed rugs brought to you by the original Rug E Fresh. Marshall Fox, and his business associate, the Green-Eyed Bandit, Eric Sermon. Go check out Def Rugs.
Do that.
Our friend Heather Lent up in Schenectady, New York, is the proprietor of the Bittersweet Candy Company. She makes candy and chocolate that is handmade, small batch, different, and
delicious.
Check them out on Facebook. Order at bittersweetcandy.com. Use our code THROWBACK to save 10% off your order.
Yes, do that.
Melted Mics, MLTDMICS.com. Hip-hop themed t-shirts from the mind of Pumice T. Mendola. You can get those t-shirts at meltedmics.com. Use our code MR Throwback Thursday. Save 10% off your order.
Yes, do that
at
too.
At meltedmics.com.
He's got a Bee Gees shirt that came out today.
Really?
Yes.
Today as in the past, because this is in the future. So,
but it is out now.
Finally, Etsy.com/shop/geek like you, where the geek shall inherit the earth. Hip hop and pop culture themed items from the sick, twisted mind of Mr. Throwback Thursday, who, as you are listening, remember, is out to sea, enjoying himself and
having drinks on the Lido deck.
His sick, twisted wife, Mrs. Throwback Thursday, who is joining him on the Lido deck.
I hope so.
And probably drinking pumpkin coffee or something at this point. Or she's a hazelnut person, isn't she?
She is.
Okay. So go check out Etsy.com/shop/geek like you. And when he gets back from his excursion, he will fill your order.
Yes.
It is social media time. MrThrowbackThursday.com, the homepage for everything associated with the show. Go there. Check out the show notes. Check out the Posse Wall of Fame. Check out everything there is.
You might be on the Posse Wall of Fame.
You very well could be. MRThrowbackThursday.com. Leave us a voice message as well. You can click that little microphone that says hit us up, and indeed leave us a voice message of about 1.5 to 2 minutes. You can follow us on our Twitter handles, _MR_TBT and Bill_MR_TBT. You can also like the Facebook page, Mr. Throwback Thursday. We are on Instagram and Threads at
Threads still a thing.
It is. I just stopped going on it though.
Yes, I get notifications on Instagram
that I have Threads followers and I never listen.
Threads, and I still don't go there.
Yeah,
it's kind of like stop trying to make Threads happen.
Right. Instagram, Jamie is MR Throwback Thursday. I am Bill _MR_TBT. Like my Twitter handle. Facebook page is Mr. Throwback Thursday. It's also home of the TBT Posse. Go check those out. You can also check us out every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern on Fresh Radio at itsfreshradio.com right after the All Request Thursday. And you can send us emails if you wish at mrthrowbackthursday@gmail.com. It is shout-outs time.
Unless B doesn't play us this week because we talked about Iron Maiden and Judas Priest.
Right. Shout-outs time. Shout-outs to Gail Dunmeyer and Manny Baez and Sarah Henderson and John Henderson and Hugo Gonzalez and Sanket Patel and Teresa Lynn's Simple Luxuries at teresalynns.com. Clay Arsenault, the Shrieking Warrior Jennifer Buchanan, Jason Heath, Jessica Walker, Shane Hatley, Ricky Schnarr, Kenneth Elsfelder, who is asking for a giveaway, of which we have none today.
It would make Cranky very mad.
And he's our next person, Mr. Cranky Pants, Brian Hollenbeck, the legendary Kevin Van Buren, Rob Jeffroy, who joined us earlier tonight as well, Kate Harvey, Catherine Liska, Ken Dwinell, and Wanda Calamia. They get mentioned every week because
I got 5 on it.
Or more.
You want to get your name mentioned every week, go to patreon.com/MRTBT or MrThrowbackThursday.com. Click the little link that says become a patron.
Or start your own show and just say your name.
Friends of ours in the industry, as always, check out 1980s Now with Will, Kat, and John, who made a nice post in the past about De La Soul.
Yes.
And 3 Feet High and Rising. And I think we were the only two people who commented on it. And they never answered me with the questions.
They're
just
researching.
throwing that out there.
Maybe
Anthony
they have.
Imran and maybe I have to go look. Anthony Imran and Rug Boy over the Jock and Nerd podcast, Talking Thai on her show. What's the Word podcast with Brooklyn Thai, and Talking Thai's webpage is brooklynthainyc.com. The hardest working turntablist in the world is DJ B on itsfreshradio.com and the Fresh Radio app for your phone. Go get that app, and you can also subscribe.
We prescribe.
Whatever the word is.
You subscribe.
You can check out Wild One Radio has that. We're on Wild One Radio, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There it is.
You prescribed it to them.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Go find us and share the word. Good word. Take good care of yourselves, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame version of episode 533 of Mr. Throwback Thursday. It was very cool to talk about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame tonight.
Yeah. And hopefully very soon we'll find out who made it in this year.
And if Jamie did not drown on his excursion, we will be back for episode 534.
We will.
In the future. Until then, find us, share the good word, take good care of yourselves and each other. Wash your hands.
Wash your butt.
And until next time, keep it classic.
And like Cool Keith said, Big Head Boo, I put some roaches on your whole crew. Have you scared with crack pipes? Your family throwing doo-doo.
And always remember,
new school stale, old school fresh.